This week in science, we're talking about animal diets and how we can classify animals based on what they eat. So before spring break, we talked about how to classify animals based on whether or not they had a backbone. So remember, vertebrate was the word for animals that have a backbone, and invertebrate was the word for animals that do not have a backbone. So from there, we then went on to classify animals based on other characteristics within their groups. So if they were a vertebrate and they had a backbone, we then looked at if they lived in water, that means they're a fish. Or if they started off in water and then grew up to live on land, they're amphibians. If they were reptiles, they had scaly skin and laid eggs. Birds are the only ones with wings and feathers, and mammals are the only animals that give birth to live young. So those were the 5 categories that we put the animals into when we were looking at how to classify vertebrates. When we talked about invertebrates, animals that don't have a backbone, we then looked at if they had legs or if they didn't have legs. And the only category that we found that had legs was arthropods. And those were insects, spiders, shrimp, and crabs. The ones that didn't have legs were annelids, which are worms, Cnidaria, which were jellyfish, echinoderm, which were starfish, mollusks, which are like the squishy like creatures like snails, and porifera, which was coral. So this week, we're going to talk about how we can put animals into groups based on the types of food they eat. So there are only 3 groups for this: carnivores, herbivores, and omnivores. So there are a few videos here which you can go to afterwards. Just click on the links, and if you wanted to do a little bit more learning, or if you weren't sure of anything, you can either send Miss K a message, or you can click on the links and watch the videos to see if those help you. All right, so in your home learning journal, you need to write the date and the LO at the top of your page. So today's date is March 22nd, 2020, so you can write the full date, or you can write the short date, okay? Either is fine. And then you need to write the LO, which is I know what carnivores, herbivores, and omnivores are. Okay, so what I want you to do is you're going to pause the video and you're going to write that down and then unpause it when you're ready to keep going. All right, so once you've done your LO and the date, you're going to separate your page into 3. So there are 2 different ways you can do it, okay? You have option 1, which I like, or option 2, which is also perfectly fine. Just make sure that you have the titles like this, and that you've separated them into 3. Okay, this one has a little bit less line drawing for you if you want for option 1. So again, pause the video, put that into your books, and then we will continue on. So for each type, for the 3 ones, you need to have the definition, what it eats, and examples of the animals. So I've made this really easy, and you just need to write down anything that is in red. So up first, we are learning about carnivores. Now, carnivores are animals that only eat meat, okay? That basically means that they eat different animals. So they eat fish, they eat insects, and they even eat other mammals. They are the predators in the animal kingdom. They eat other animals to get their nutrients, okay? And remember that nutrients is what gives us energy and the things that we need for our body, which is one of the characteristics of living things. Now, an interesting fact is that a lot of them have really sharp teeth, and that's to break apart the meat, because the meat is normally raw and they have to maybe get into bones and things like that. And they also normally have eyes that face forward, so it creates kind of like what we can see, which is just a full field of view, which is like almost 360 degrees when we turn all the way around, okay? They don't need to know if anyone's behind them because they are the scariest creatures, basically. So you need to write down anything in red. Again, pause it if you need to keep writing. Otherwise, we're going to continue on. So examples of carnivores are polar bears, Miss K's favorite. Okay, they eat seals and they sometimes eat fish, right? And they don't eat anything else because there really isn't anything else for them to find because they live in the Arctic. So there's not a whole bunch of plants and things like that. So they just eat meat. Okay. Orcas, another one of Miss K's favorites. They enjoy eating seabirds, which must be awkward with feathers. Squid, octopuses, sea turtles, sharks, rays, seals, and fish. Okay. Snakes eat rodents, which is another word for mice or rats. Rabbits, birds, fish, and some insects. Sharks also, they normally eat fish and seals. Frogs eat insects. And falcons eat other birds, bats, fish, and rodents as well, like mice. Okay, so write down those 6 examples, and then I'll show you what your page should look like. So your home learning journal page basically needs everything that's on this page. So you need to have written carnivores are animals that eat meat. They eat different animals like fish, insects, and mammals. And examples are polar bears, sharks, orcas, frogs, falcons, and snakes. And remember, if you missed anything, just pause the video and you can just write it down there. All right, herbivores. So what are herbivores? Well, they are animals that only eat plants, okay? So they eat grass, they eat leaves, they eat seeds, nuts, fruit, vegetables, and flowers. They are basically vegetarians, okay? And they normally have eyes that are on the side of their face, and they have bigger ears because they are often prey. So they get hunted by like lions and other creatures. So they need to be able to almost see behind them just in case they have to run, okay? They also have flat teeth and round teeth. So because they don't need to tear into things. So they have different teeth than carnivores, and they have their face structure is different with their eyes, and they also eat different things. So you need to remember everything in red written down on your notes page, and let's see examples of herbivores. So examples are iguanas. Iguanas enjoy eating leaves. Pandas, which is another one of Miss K's favorite because she loves all bears. Pandas eat bamboo plants, so it's different to polar bears who are carnivores. Pandas are actually herbivores. Then we have deer who eat grass, bark, and twigs, and rabbits who enjoy eating hay, grass, fruit, and vegetables. So you need to write down those 4 examples for your notes page. Remember, you can pause the video, just so you have everything written down. But this is what you should have. Herbivores are animals that eat plants. They eat grass, leaves, seeds, nuts, fruits, vegetables, and flowers. And examples are iguanas, pandas, deer, and rabbits. Okay, so the last category is omnivores. And omnivores are animals that eat meat and plants. So they eat everything. They eat grass, leaves, berries, fruit, vegetables, fish, insects, nuts, seeds, other mammals. They literally eat everything. They're not fussy. If they can't find meat, they'll eat plants. If there's meat available, they'd rather have the meat. Okay, and they have a mix of sharp teeth and flat teeth, which are kind of like ours. So if you feel your teeth, you'll see that you have some sharp teeth, and then you'll have some flat teeth. So we are omnivores as humans. We can eat meat, and we can eat vegetables and fruit, and even maybe grass, who knows. So we have similar teeth to omnivores just because we can eat everything, even though there are humans who also, they are herbivores. They just want to eat plants, and that's cool too. Okay, so remember, write everything down in red, because those are the most important parts. And let's look and see examples of omnivores. So we have 6 examples here that I found for you. So the first one is a sloth. And sloths like to eat fruits and leaves, but they also eat insects and small lizards. So the insects and small lizards is the eating of the animals, and then fruits and leaves, which is herbivore. So because they have both herbivore and carnivore tendencies, then that's why they are omnivores. Okay? Then we have chimpanzees. And chimpanzees eat also everything. Seeds, fruit, leaves, bark, honey, flowers, but they also eat insects, and they sometimes eat other small mammals. Now, this one was interesting for me because I thought piranhas only eated meat, so I learned something when I did this. So they actually eat insects, fish, worms, and they eat seeds and other plants. So they also eat whatever they can get in their habitat, which is very interesting. I thought they only eat meat. Now, grizzly bears, again, this is different to polar bears, and it's different to panda bears. Grizzly bears love to eat berries, and they also love to eat fish. So they have a balanced diet of carnivore, meat, and herbivore, plant. So they eat seeds, berries, roots, grasses, fungi, which are mushrooms. They eat deer, they eat elk, fish. They also eat dead animals and insects. So grizzly bears will eat everything that they find. In Canada, where Miss Kaari lives, you can even find the grizzly bears at the dump, and they're eating garbage, okay? We also have box turtles, and a lot of turtles, they like to eat lettuce and things like that. But box turtles are special because they eat insects, grubs, which are like larvae or worms. They eat snails and slugs and eggs, mushrooms, flowers, and fruit. So they also eat a little bit of everything, which is why they're omnivores. And then we have chickens, and chickens like to eat insects. They eat worms, and they also eat seeds. So there are 6 examples of omnivores for you. Okay, so make sure that you're writing everything in red down, and this is what your page should look like. So you should have that omnivores are animals that eat meat and plants. They eat grass, leaves, berries, fish, insects, nuts, fruits, seeds, other mammals, everything. And that examples are sloths, chimpanzees, piranhas, grizzly bears, box turtles, and chickens. So what you need to do for me now is to take a picture of your note page and send it to me on ClassDojo just to complete your assignment, which has been uploaded, okay? And you need to add it to your portfolio. So just click that you've done your assignment, add the video just like we practiced in class with a QR code, and I will get it. I'll check it over. Make sure on your page you have given yourself 1 tick if you feel like, yeah, I think I could use some more practice with this, and then go back and look at those videos I sent. 2 ticks if you think, you know what, I'm almost there. I might need a little bit more practice, but not much. Or 3 ticks to show me that you know this super well and it's super easy. Okay, once you've done that, then you can have some fun. You can play one of those 3 games, and there's even a special challenge game, which is a quiz. So you can click on those links and you can go to any of those games. Okay, and then let me know how you did on ClassDojo, and I will talk to you tomorrow about your next science lesson.